A win condition is a specific means or strategy by which you can achieve victory. Or, in other words, what needs to happen in order for you to win, or for you to be successful, or for you to do the thing that you're trying to do? What things have to conspire and align? Today, I'm talking, guys, about win conditions for your government contracting businesses. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So there are two win conditions that you often hear me talk about. Today we're going in more depth. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you what they are. And if you want to roll your eyes and bounce off the video, that's fine because you think you've heard it. But I would urge you to stay and watch the rest of this video and hear what I have to say about these two win conditions, because I haven't gone to this level of depth into them before. So what are they? Well, it's a numbers game, okay? One of your win conditions is playing the numbers. Another win condition is building relationships with your key agencies. It's who you know. And these two win conditions are not only related to government contracting. It actually goes higher up. They're related to business in general. Because if you ask anybody who's in a successful business and you say, hey, do you play the numbers game? They're going to say yes. Or they're going to say, what do you mean? And eventually you're going to follow that, conversation down to they're actively doing things that matter, that put numbers on the board, right? And then if you were to ask them, hey, with your successful business, is there a component for relationship marketing or to grow existing accounts, account management, things like that? They would say, of course, it's low-hanging fruit. It is where a significant portion of our business comes from. So the numbers game and who you know for this, maybe commercial business that doesn't even do government contracting, these are two win conditions for them that make up their business model that brings in revenue. And there certainly, definitely can be more. But today we're talking about government contracting, how this relates to your government contracting business, very small business, teams of 1, 2, and 3, especially those of you trying to get your first contract. You need to be focused on things, very few other things besides those with the highest win condition, those with the things that if they conspire and work together for you and you put the work towards, they have the highest likelihood of getting you to where you want to go, which is winning a government contract. So let's talk a little bit more about this first win condition. It's a numbers game. I know you're not going to argue with me, but let's break this down. Wayne Gretzky, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. This is something that you can use as a benchmark. Once you're registered, once you've made the decision, you've found, what it is that you're offering. You found agencies that are a match for that, buying the most of it. Your NAICS codes are behind you. We've got all this taken care of, right? You got your CAPE statement, like it's all, you're ready to go. This is so many of you guys, you're like, I'm set up, I'm registered, and now what? I'm stuck. There's like a million things to do. It's a numbers game. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You will win nothing, absolutely zero. You can guarantee that you're not going to win anything if you're not putting any numbers on the board. So let's just use, some reverse logic to say, okay, well, if I want to win something, then I have to do the opposite of that, which means I have to start putting something out there into the world, primarily responding to solicitations, RFPs, and RFQs. Right now, in this particular win condition, we're not even that worried about responding to sources sought market research. Hey, if you're being an A+ student and you're building up everything, you're adding that as part of the strategy to warm up the contacts even more. But at the end of the day, you can strip a lot of things away. And if you're not responding to bids, it's not working. So at the most basic level, this is one of the things, which is why it's a win condition, you cannot do without actually pricing out, writing a response, writing a proposal, submitting and responding to an RFP, RFQ solicitation, whether it's on sam.gov or somewhere else. You cannot just do without this. You absolutely must do it. So use it as a metric. How many of these are you doing per month? How many are you doing per week? That shakes things up quite a bit. Literally if I ask this question and then they're like, well, none. Like, okay, well, let's start there. Let's start with this first win condition. You're not winning contracts and you're not responding to anything. Let's break that down. Why? Do you not know how? Are you not confident? Do you really not have a business at the end of the day? Like what is it? Break down the problem, because if you have things stopping you from getting into this win condition, to say responding to at least 2 bids per month, okay? Like let's use some real numbers. If you can respond to at least 2 bids per month, or if you're in the fourth quarter, you're doing at least one per week, maybe more, especially on like RFQ price only type contracts, that is going to be the proportional direct coordination to your ability to win. The more you go after, the more you win. Like it's kind of common sense, and the weighting and how many do you need to respond to? Well, that's going to vary, and that's not principally important for the concepts that we're talking about now. All that you really need to understand is that the more you go after, the likelihood that you're going to win more increases. So if we're playing with magic here, we're making things happen, then you can start to play with the numbers and say, okay, well, right now I'm responding to 0. Well, okay, pull yourself out of the swamp, out of the trenches, out of the muck, out of the quicksand, out of the paralysis by analysis, out of the overthinking and the confusion, and just say, all right, I'm going to focus on this one win condition right now. I'm going to focus on doing 1 per week or 2 per month. And they're not going to be big. I know this is new to me. I know it's scary. I know I don't have a lot of confidence, and I know I don't have all the answers, but I'm going to put myself in an uncomfortable position, and I'm going to do this first one. Or I did one 6 months ago or a couple months ago, and it was like, yeah, I don't know if it was even good, and I sent it off and I didn't hear anything, so go figure, I didn't win. And that's what I did. Like, guys, I know you. I'm talking directly to you. I know who you guys are. I know what you're doing, and I want to pull you through. That's why I'm here. That's why I have this channel. If I'm not getting transformations from you guys or making you take baby steps, then I'm not doing my job and I'm not being fulfilled, and there's no reason for me to do this. So I am reaching through the camera right now. I'm grabbing you. I'm pulling you. Start with this first win condition. We've still got a few months left in the fourth quarter. Like, it's not too late. And you can bid year round. So, if you're watching this later, like, it's totally fine. Contracts get awarded year round. But it's just, hey, there's a bit more low-hanging fruit right now, so why not take advantage of it? So for this win condition, it all starts with committing to playing the numbers game, which means starting with 1 and then going to 2. Just very, very linear. We're not talking about anything geometric that just exponentially goes off the charts. You don't have a team. You're not able to delegate yet. You don't, have a lot of, relationships built. You don't have economies of scale or anything to leverage and to make things like go crazy like maybe you could in a couple years. So right now, very linear, just 1 at a time. You could watch it on a graph. You could chart it out if you wanted. 1 a week, 1 a month, 2 a month. What is it that you're committed to doing to start implementing this win condition? I know it sounds very simplistic, but if you reframe it in terms of a win condition, it's like, yeah, what are the things that need to conspire and happen in order for me to get what I'm after, to get revenue, to get this flywheel spinning on this business, right? I got to win a contract. I got to be able to, see yourself, writing that invoice, billing out, sending the request for payment, money coming into your bank account, hooking up your accounting, your routing numbers to your bank so that you can get paid, all that stuff. That's reality. But you don't even get close to that if you're not playing this numbers game. So I hope you're with me. I hope that makes sense. This win condition is so crucial and critical because it's just one of the very few things that you cannot subtract to all of the things that are included in government contracting, all the things I teach here on the channel that are super important, and they all have their place. This is one of the very few critical things that you cannot just do without. So if you're only going to focus on one thing for now, a win condition, something that matters above all else, it's going to be playing that numbers game. And like I said, if you're not confident, you don't know how to 100% do it right, you just start going through it, okay? That's how everybody starts. Nobody starts riding a bike knowing how to ride it perfectly. We start riding the bike knowing, man, I hope I don't fall off. The very first time I rode a bike, I did very, very well because I was able to stabilize and I didn't need somebody to hold me. But nobody told me how to brake. So I ran into a parked car and I fell off, right? So like nobody knows how to, respond to a bid 100% correct. That's fine. Like that's your first couple. You just need to write them off. Tell yourself your first couple, they're not going to be anything. but they will be 100% credit and weight for getting on the board. And that's all you're trying to do right now, is to get those first couple under your belt. Know that they're not going to be perfect. Know that you're probably not going to win. But what you're actually going to win is so much greater, is learning the process and building your confidence. That's not something that I can give you until you fully actually do it on your own. Like, I'm here with you. Watch this video over and over as you're going through this if you need to feel like somebody's going through it with you, or if you need the confidence. Because we're all in this together. Our channel, our community, guys, we're all, many people, the vast majority of us, we're all in the same boat. So if you can know that, be a leader, become a star, do something so that you can come back to the community and say, you know what, this is the first time I did it, but I did it and I'm so proud of myself, and it's okay if I don't win, because I know I'm working towards my win condition and I'm doing what matters, so I can pat myself on the back. I can go to sleep tonight knowing that, hey, I did something special, I did something good, and you know what, like, that's all you can ask yourself at the end of the day. So if you're confused, if you're paralysis by analysis, you're overwhelmed, you don't have confidence, start here with this very first win condition. Okay, now, so let's talk about the second win condition that I mentioned, the relationships. It's who you know. This is also something that cannot be refuted. And at the end of the day, if you're subtracting things, just like it's hard to subtract actually responding to bids in order to be successful, it's also pretty hard to take away knowing people, having strong relationships, being able to market them and have them know who you are. It's hard to take that away because it is also so fundamental and critical to winning contracts, or just in the commercial space, winning in general. Sometimes relationships can be even more beneficial and lucrative and important in the commercial B2B or B2C arena, but it still, yes, does carry over to government contracting. The way that you do it is, the approach is different. You do have to be a bit more careful. It's probably not as loud and all over the place as it is in the B2B, space, but developing professional relationships, doing things properly in a way that, the government allows you to do, are the things that you should be doing, and do result in you building into relationships. And those relationships absolutely can translate into government contracts. So one example, working for the government contractor that I worked for, a while back, I worked there for 5 years. I won all my contracts with them as a small business. And there was a lady, she was probably in her mid 60s, if I were to guess, one of the least technologically, inclined people that you probably would meet. And imagine her writing and responding to proposals, playing the numbers game, using that win condition. No, she didn't. She didn't respond to anything. I mean, she had difficulty turning on her computer sometimes, I remember, because I sat right in front of her. I'm not kidding. But how did she, become like our third and fourth place producer in the company, winning, many contracts? Well, it wasn't through doing the first win condition, putting numbers on the board per se by responding to bids. It was through building relationships. She actually was able to build relationships with other female contracting officers that were around her age, and she actually developed, friendships with them. And everything was professional, so it was nothing crazy. But at the end of the day, contracting officers are people, and she really got them to like our company. She really got this contracting officer in particular, and just her contracting office and another office to listen to her, do capability briefings, and really just kind of have pick up the phone type conversations. Maybe talk about market research that's coming out that she could respond to. And even bids that they're not getting a lot of responses to, she would bring it to our company, and then my boss would have proposal writer or somebody respond to it, right? But she teed it up through this relationship and really get kind of working her way into the agency there, and it worked for her, and she teed up many contracts that we ended up winning. We didn't win all of them, of course. But she brought in a significant amount of business through relationships and through who she knew, able to even get referrals and things like that. Guys, at the end of the day, contracting officers, they've got a goal. Sometimes you think of us contractors as middlemen or middlewomen. Well, it's the same for them. They are the middle person between the end user, the customer, and us, the contractor. So they're just in the middle too. they don't always write these requirements. They have the customer write the requirement, and then they write the contracting portion of it. But the statement of work, contracting does not write the statement of work, okay? Unless they're piecing from, previous contracts and they're able to just roll it over and use some of the same jargon and things like that. But they are not expertise in all these different, how could they be? All these different industries, all these different jobs. No, they have end users that are writing that, and then they are doing the proper way of acquiring that, procuring that through work with a contractor. And that all starts with putting it out for bid or putting out market research or something like that. So they're middle people too, right? Which means they've got a job to do. They're playing matchmaker. They're looking for contractors that are going to be the best thing. All this contracting stuff, it's just the paperwork, guys. It's just the paperwork. You want to get into something more like micro purchases or verbal contracts where, it's so small that they don't even need to actually post it out. So much actually goes under the radar. That doesn't even go on sam.gov. Why don't I talk about that more? Well, how helpful is that to you if you don't have relationships? So I talk a lot about relationships, but it's because, once you have that, you don't even know what could happen, guys. You don't know, but just trust me on this. You can win, be very lucrative. You can meet your win condition, win your first, second, and third contract through relationships, if that is a win condition that you're able to do. So what I want to tie these both together is ask yourself, hey, who is doing the government contracting end of your business? Who is focused on this? Okay, you're raising your hand, it's you. Of course it is, because you don't really have a team. I already knew that. But if you do have a team, or you're working with a partner or a colleague or a spouse or interns or something like that, ask yourself and identify the person who is doing this. And then do an analysis of their personality type and their skill set and say, hey, which of these two win conditions is going to be best for you to play? Because as I've given examples, win condition number 1 or 2, playing the numbers game, or it's who you know, can both get you to the same point. There's multiple win conditions here to get what you want, right? So what makes most sense to you? Are you somebody who's going to be able to respond to bids? Sooner or later, you can't skip this one. I would even say if we only had these two, you got to take away the relationships first so you could focus on the first one, playing the numbers game, because that one you really, really need. But you do also really, really need relationships, over time for your business. That is absolutely critical. But look at the personality type. If it's you, what do you see yourself doing more? Are you more of a marketing person? Are you an extrovert? Are you somebody that, hey, if you get somebody in front of you in person, you can really, really impress them and make the sale, if you will, sell your business, sell your capabilities? Or are you somebody who's like, hey, I want to be at the office, I want to be analyzing, I want to be finding, I want to be breaking down, I want to be responding to bids and getting those out there? Which is it? Whoever's going to be the number one on this, which personality type is a better fit? Okay, there's this, we call it hunting, which is the numbers game. Farming is the relationship game. Again, you need to be a hunter and a farmer, or you at least need to have these different modalities in your business, these different types of win conditions, okay? You don't want to just stick to one, but if you're picking one for now to get started, or you've only got one person, or you only got so much time, which is it going to be? Rewind the video, think about what I said when this video is over. What is it going to be for you? What is it going to be for your business? Okay, your business needs to have this. It needs to have an arm or something working for it. So are you going to be responding to bids, or are you going to be building relationships? Just remind yourself, though, if you do choose the relationship win condition, at the end of the day, you're still going to have to respond, because they're not just going to give you a contract. They still need to do the paperwork, the paper trail. You may still be competing. You may develop a relationship and you get to do a sole source, and that's awesome, but you still don't get around doing a proposal, okay? You still have to dot all the I's, cross the T. That's why I say from the fundamental standpoint, you absolutely do have to learn that. So if you're doing relationships and it's a team of one, well, really what you're signing up for is doing both. So, it's really up to you. Or you can start with the bidding numbers game win condition, and then use proposal debriefs and start responding to sources sought, market research, things like that, to start to lean into the relationship side of things also, because that's what those things are for. in addition to just improving your overall strategies. So one of the last things I want to touch on is just this last Saturday, we went live here on the channel for about 2.5 hours. We had one of our community members, Debbie, so a shout out to Debbie, and some of you may know who or what I'm talking about or what I'm about to say. But Debbie went after a local city contract with the Park Service. And Debbie won a multi-million-dollar contract with the Park Service. And this was through, essentially it started with a phone call. Debbie didn't start with a bid in front of her. She started with a phone call. Debbie had an idea to basically take down all of these encampments, is what it's called. So these different setups, these little camps, different things, these different, areas that the Park Service had located throughout the city, and it also went on to go throughout the state as well, which is why it ended up being a multi-million-dollar contract. But Debbie had an idea for taking this down, and so she just called and she said, I have this idea. And then that idea evolved into a conversation with the people that mattered. And then that conversation ended up going to what was called a no-bid contract, or what we would call in the federal space. Remember, this was just city for Debbie. Federal space, though, this would be a sole source, because only one company can do it. For Debbie, she was the only one who was able to do it because it was only her idea, right? And so that ended up being a no-bid contract, and she responded to it. And of course, she won. And that was such a cool thing to hear this last weekend. Guys, we're having wins all the time. We're having wins all the time. You are surrounded by wins. You just don't know it. So if you're feeling like you're in this on your own, you're not. You just need to get more exposure. Become more active here in the channel. I might be doing something to do a new awesome group soon. We may be taking things off of Facebook because Facebook has absolutely killed our current Facebook group. Most of my posts do not get seen. Other people's posts do not get seen. Facebook just cares about cramming people into groups and recommending groups, whether they're a good fit or not, and then running ads. So it's like, I'm looking for another platform. So get plugged in. I'll have something like that maybe coming down the road, more to follow on that if you're feeling that way. So I'm trying to share this community aspect from just this past Saturday of what Debbie was able to do, just to show you you're surrounded by wins. Debbie just won. Lots of people are doing things, and they're doing things differently, which is really cool for me to see, because it's like, hey, we just covered 2 win conditions, but there are so many more. And Debbie's, I would say, it would go underneath the relationship. It was who she knew. It was that phone call. It didn't start with a bid. So what's it going to be for you? We've had this video going for a little while now. You get what I'm saying. All of this is to move you to action, and to say, if you're not working towards a win condition, I'd say you're doing busy work. You're just like you're satisfying your mind by planning, but then you're not actually doing anything. We do this all the time. Like, we'll watch a YouTube video or something like that. You feel like you're being productive, but then the video ends and then you go off into doing something else. That was all just time wasted. We don't want to have time wasted. If you're watching this, if you're still watching this, you're watching this for a reason, because something I'm saying is speaking to you, and what I'm saying has truth to it. So the few of you who made it this far in the video, I'm asking you right now, literally, let me know in the comments, which win condition are you going to follow? Do you want to play the numbers game? Do you think your personality is a better fit for who you know? It's a relationships game. I want to know in the comments. You gotta pick something, or if you've got an idea for a different win condition, let me know. Okay. And guys, we are going live on Saturdays. If you want to come, bounce in, join the community. I try to send emails out. We've done it for a few weeks. I absolutely love it. We go for 2 to 3 hours. Really get to have some good Q&A going on. I'm trying to get back to that now that some of the other things going on with GovKidMethod is a little bit more stabilized. Mostly being GovCon Gold Rush, our ultimate government contracting program. Link for that in the description if you're interested in finding out more. Application-only program, though. We've got members joining every week. We're seeing a lot of great things start to happen. The program is still relatively new. I say everything takes about 12 months to really get going. But that's another place. If you're looking for a community, we go live with office hours in there every single week. Members get to talk to me one-on-one, in our small, intimate group setting, and get a lot deeper and, talk about what's going on with the business. So if that's something you want to learn more about, the link for that is in the description. If you liked today's video, click that like button. If you're watching this and you're not subscribed yet, click that subscribe button because we are the fastest growing GovCon YouTube channel in the world as far as I've been able to tell. I think that's pretty cool, and I would love to have you as part of the community. So again, let me know in the comments, what do you think about this win condition thing? What's it going to be for you? Is it going to be the numbers game, or is it going to be who you know? Guys, thanks for hanging out. I will see you in the next video. And join us this coming Saturday. I'd love to have you there. Peace.